Hello and welcome to the first episode of the most anticipated After Dark Dialogues podcast series. My name is Chad, and today on the first episode, we're going to be talking about the AI frontier. It's a hot topic today that everyone is talking about and everyone is thinking about. So I thought we would just, for the first episode of this podcast series, we're going to dive into it and just chat about it and just have a casual conversation about AI and the science fiction thoughts about it from the past, where it is today, where it's going. So let's just jump straight into it. And the first thing that I really wanted to touch on about AI is 5 years ago, 3 years ago even, when people would talk about AI in movies, the way AI is always depicted, it's always such a negative, sentient being that's literally dedicated to taking over the world. There's no in-between stage. It's like in these movies, it's always the humans are just existing and just doing whatever they do, and then suddenly it's just a robot awakens and decides, actually, you know what, I want to take over the world. And it's just immediately into this sentient being correlation between artificial intelligence and destruction and doom. And although that might be a potential path that humanity is leading down, I think we've taken a couple steps too far. We need to pull ourselves back. We need to put ourselves into the current state of where we are right now, in the state where we're in assistance stage. Artificial intelligence is almost everybody's personal assistant. We didn't really think, when we think about AI and we're watching all these movies, we didn't really think back to ourselves, okay, when artificial intelligence takes over the world like it is today, it's not in the materialistic form of robotics wielding weapons and shooting all of us. It's in the form of free, accessible virtual assistants, basically, or just on demand assisting with a lot of things, which we're gonna get into. But and I say that also with take that as a grain of salt when I say free and accessible, because nothing really, in terms of AI, is free and accessible. You need a computer, you need a good internet access. So we're also going to be talking about that in terms of the, in my university a couple of years ago, we were talking about the haves and the have-nots, and how technology advancements and the rapid exponential growth of technology is separating humanity from the have-nots and the haves of technology, and how I can progress further and quicker because I have access to technology every single year, year after year, better technology than maybe a lot of other people that do not have access to that. So we're also going to talk about and touch on that. But so as I mentioned, right now, we're in that stage that it's this in between bridging stage. So I was having a casual conversation with one of my friends the other day, and we were talking about the fact that, let's take ourselves back 20 years ago, and we're busy using maps. We're paging and figuring out how to use a map, and suddenly we're using a sat nav. I remember very clearly that my parents and us traveling on holiday, we would stick this sat nav onto, like a Garmin sat nav, onto the windshield, and we would literally follow this extremely annoying voice guiding us through wherever we were going. And each technological advancement, no matter how minute they are, you kind of forget a skill that you previously once had. I personally these days don't even bother trying to figure out how to understand how to use a map, because there's no point to it. So the ability and the skill of us needing to work physical maps is obsolete right now. Um, and that was because it was the gradual introduction of satellite navigation systems. And then um, after that, it was smartphones. And now every person on the road pretty much just uses their smartphone as some form of maps guiding system when they're driving somewhere that they don't know where to go. Um, so when we talk about the introduction of artificial intelligence, we mustn't automatically assume it's just job displacement, even though to some degree there is, um, or it's just negativity because people are forgetting to do stuff. But people have forgotten how to use the map. People have forgotten, younger generations have never used a phone book before or have needed to remember physical numbers or write them down in a little notebook of each family member and what their telephone, home phone or cell phone numbers are. Those skills and those abilities and needing to do those things are obsolete because we've had technology put into our hands to assist us with those type of things. It makes phoning someone quicker, more efficient, more accessible. It makes finding a hospital when someone is sick more accessible, quicker. This is what technology has helped us to do. And so this is what artificial intelligence essentially is helping us to do. It's helping us to do things in businesses and in day-to-day lives quicker, more accessibly and more efficiently. I attended a webinar where a company was explaining how much artificial intelligence has increased their business efficiency and how much money it's actually saved them. This, however, is one of those instances of double-edged swords because they were explaining that they use artificial intelligence for content generation. There's no need to hire a photographer or videographer to come in and film or take photos of, those stock images of things happening in the workplace, or just like, I don't know, you know what I'm talking about, like, or even product creation imagery. That type of stuff can be created with powerful tools like artificial intelligence just by typing in a couple keywords. Artificial intelligence video generation is also becoming extremely popular these days. And so the need to hire a videographer to do that work for you is starting to slowly fade away. And although I'm not promoting that type of behavior of getting rid of people to do that type of work for you, it's interesting that by just putting in a few keywords, they have immediately generated video content and photo content that they can use for marketing material, just like that. And so it saves them a lot of money, it saves them a lot of time and efficiency. And again, double-edged sword because you're cutting out some of the human aspect. But those people, the videographers, the photographers, will eventually develop a way to integrate their profession into artificial intelligence, because artificial intelligence, this AI, these AI assistants of what it's pretty much become today, that's just going to become a normal thing for us. What we're dealing with right now, ChatGPT, Google Gemini, and all the other artificial intelligence software systems that are out there, they're pretty much your Siri, Alexa, Google Assistants, just better. Although Siri is just really not even up to scratch. But so the idea I'm getting behind this is that instead of rejecting technological advancements, we need to adapt to technological advancements and to artificial intelligence, and to realize that no matter how much we push against something, we're fighting the grain of what something can do to help humans technologically advance. For an example, when I just remember myself being in university last year, and we were sitting, or it could have been 2022. It was 2022, sorry. And I was just sitting doing my thing, taking some notes in class, and I saw one of my friends going back and forth between this texting system. And I asked her, what are you doing? And it came to my short notice that she was conversing with a an AI model, which was ChatGPT, that had just become so well known that you can literally ask it to type you something, and then you could say to it, could you translate this in French or in any other language? And it was like, wow, that thing can do it just like this, and then you can change your request and query and it will do it just like this. And now, within the space of a year and a half from understanding that this system exists, the amount of work the amount of work that I've used in conjunction with the system to help myself improve, to help myself get work done more efficiently, it's insane how much it's really helped. And it's simply just a matter of adapting and adjusting to technological advancements and understanding that although it's so scary, I can't imagine what the first person must have thought, that the person selling paraffin lamps on the side of the street with his horse, he must have been furious at the fact that someone discovered electricity. He must have been really, really furious. And the person selling DVDs, where he would have customers every Friday night, Saturday night, Sunday night, coming in with their family to choose one DVD on the shelf before, they rent it, taking it out and having to bring it back on Monday morning, to suddenly Netflix dropping, to having thousands of streaming movies and series at your fingertips. There's going to be people that are going to be furious, and there's going to be people that are going to lose jobs, and there's going to be people fighting the grain. There's going to be people going with the grain. But these things happen in life. So what I've written down here is now I've gone so on the positive of AI that now I'm going to bring it back to being more neutral, somewhat concerned about it. So I've written down here, so we had maps, and then we were using sat nav. And when I'm sitting in that car at the age of 6 years old and my parents are using sat nav on the dash, I wonder what their thoughts were when they were listening to a DVD, or no, a CD in the car's CD player. They had a sat nav stuck to the windshield, and they were using some texting services on their Nokia phones or something. And they probably looking at each other going, in 3 or 4 years time, or in 5 years time, this sat nav is going to probably have such a high quality screen, and the sat nav is probably going to Solo, you're kind of ruining my... Yeah. Okay. All right. He seems to be quite interested in the AI talk. But I'm going to have to shut them out next episode. But, their thought process while using a sat-nav device inside their car for the last few years, what they imagined the sat-nav was going to be in 5 years' time. And suddenly, 5 years later, probably even less than 5 years later, we have the first smartphone release that is a combination of a music player, an internet surfing device, a messaging device, and a satellite navigation device, all in one 4.2-inch glass-on-glass screen sitting in the palm of your hand. So you can go from A to W very quickly. And the start of AI right now would be personal assistant or assisting, ChatGPT assisting, and suddenly sentient robot. You know, um, what we're sitting here right now, understanding what AI could be, it's probably something we can't think about right now. My parents weren't sitting in the car using a sat nav device going, in 3 years' time, you're going to have something in the palm of your hand that's going to do all of this. Playing the music from the CD, throw that out the window. We don't need that. 3 years' time, we got a touch screen glass panel, 4-inch screen that we're going to be able to do all of this that we're doing right now and in the palm of our hands. They weren't talking about that. So what aren't we talking about right now that AI is going to take us to? What step, what A to Z step are we going to jump to? Because technology in the end is just exponential. So speaking of exponential growth and that kind of A to Z jump, I wanted to talk about a these devices now that are coming out, these headset gear, Apple Vision Pro, Meta Quest 3, I believe they're on, could be even more, but these augmented and virtual reality headsets, and I pause there for a second because Apple isn't even marketing their headset as virtual or augmented reality. They're actually marketing it as spatial computing. And I actually agree with that. Looking at the possibilities of what it can do and how you're intended to use it, I do see it as a computing device. But anyway, jumping past the point. The point is that when we get to a point that AI becomes as seamlessly integrated into these headset devices, where whether it is ChatGPT, whether it's Siri, whether it's Google Gemini, or what's the other ones that exist, Alexa, when they start adapting the software of AI models and start integrating them, these big tech organizations, and start funding their money and putting that then into their products. Samsung has just recently done that. Samsung markets their new phone as more of an AI assisted phone, and the things that you can do is incredible with the new smartphone, and how you can remove things and search things so quickly by just tapping on things in a picture. I believe on the new Samsungs, what you can do is you can take a picture, whether you take a picture of your feet wearing some shoes, and you can tap or circle on the shoes, and Google will bring up, a price listing of those shoes, where you can buy them, the nearest store that you can buy them. That advancement, incorporate that into spatial computing headset devices, and we're then just living inside this realm of headsets. And then you got to really question yourself, how is artificial intelligence monitoring our day-to-day? And what are the negative implementations of our personal information? We're going to be at a point where people are using virtual reality headsets or augmented reality headsets, and they're going to start using them in their day-to-day, where they go to shop, what they're going to, where they're going in their homes. And this brings me to this topic. I attended an event in California in 2023, last year, and we had a guest speaker at, I believe it was the University of California, and they told us about this game that was brought out quite recently, where they would give these headset devices to people to use and play a specific game that was intended to gather personal information on such a deep scale about these people. And it was an experiment. It wasn't that they were doing this illegally, but it was an experiment to show just exactly how, on the back end of things, a game can be developed to gather such personal information about about a person that you don't even realize how that information is being processed. I'm going to give you an example. This guest speaker was telling us that this game and these experiment people, they would have to use their headsets and they would play this game, which was an escape room game. Okay, and the escape room game was built in such a way that they could learn almost everything about you and your personal information. For an example, during the escape room game, you would be in a room where there would be a bunch of different things to choose from, and you would have to choose. You would have to select one of these drawers, let's say, but all the labels on many different drawers were in different languages. And so, what they could pick up was, firstly, from this person that they don't know, they've never met. It's just a person that downloads this game and plays this game. By using their eye tracking technology, they can see immediately where someone's eye constantly moves to, because they know that they don't understand the rest of the language. They're looking for the language that they understand. If that person spoke French, their eyes would constantly reach towards the French written languages. So then on their side, they're gathering, okay, this person is a French speaking person. Then they ask you to move throughout the room slowly, and they went into great detail on how one could do this, and how the game was portrayed. But essentially, by making you walk some steps forward, some steps backwards, and understanding what your limits are and how far you can go, how far to the left and back you can go in this game that you believe you're playing, they can understand exactly how much space you have in your current room that you're living in. And using geolocation, they can understand, okay, they're living in an apartment in England, and they have this much space, which means that if they're living in this place, in this area, they have only so much space. They're probably earning between this much and that much because they can afford an apartment of this size. They're a French-speaking person. And it goes on and on and on about all the information that they could gather from you, from eye tracking technology, geolocation technologies, camera technologies. So for an example, the Apple Vision Pro uses camera technology to broadcast live what you're essentially seeing, because it's not a see-through panel. You're just seeing what video cameras are portraying to your eyes. And so they can pretty much, which they say they don't, but essentially, if you're going to be downloading games and saying like, okay, just like these little pop-ups that come up on websites, if you want to play this game, you got to accept the terms and conditions and ask the app to track your data and blah, 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 blah. We don't know what that data in the future might hold. All these little pop-ups on websites, we know that they're gathering cookies. We know that if I search something on the internet, on Instagram, I'm going to end up getting an advert at some stage of what I've just Googled. But these terms and conditions and these cookies, pop-ups that we're constantly accepting, we don't know what fine print things might be slowly added to these fine prints, that it's like, okay, in order to play this game, we need to use your spatial area. If you want to really immerse yourself in the game, we want to access your camera systems to be able to allow you to move and feel freely within the game. But meanwhile, they're processing that information. They're keeping that information. And with the beautiful use of artificial intelligence that's able to process this type of information live and learn, that's a machine learning program, AI, they're able to tell so much about someone and really gather so much information. And on that note as well, AI integrated into live video feeds like cameras in restaurants or in supermarkets. I worked on a project where we were essentially evolving a system, not literally building it engineeringly, but for the marketing side of it, was about tracking the eye movements through surveillance cameras, which are already implemented and already taking people's, videoing people. Because a lot of people say, oh, but people aren't going to allow you to video them and process the information. But every shopping center and every mall and every shop that we go into, we're constantly being monitored, and it's not a separate AI camera that you're going to plug in and it's going to stand out to the rest. It's just a software that you integrate with the feed that's already coming in from the video cameras already installed, the security cameras in the shops. It's simply just the processing of it and the understanding of the videography. It's not something separate. So this project was about seeing how people react to certain product stands. If there's a product stand specifically selling, let's say, different brands of shampoo, it would be about using the video feed coming in of people picking up certain bottles. If there's 20 or 30 people picking up a specific brand, looking at it, maybe they turn around the bottle and they see, they're looking at the price tag, they see the price, and then they put it away, or they're looking at ingredients. We can eye track technology, which part of the shelves are they looking at. All this information with AI can be processed and can very easily be just presented on a silver platter, information about these people, about demographics, about all the nitty gritty information about every single person looking at your products. And this information can be directly presented to these companies marketing in their shops. Hey, shampoo brand, this is how many people picked up your product, and this is how many people actually were concerned or looked at the price and then walked away. This is how many people looked at the price and then picked it up. So you have a lot of people looking at your price and moving away. So maybe reduce your price. And again, this is all just the processing of AI. So a lot of scary factors from artificial intelligence and a lot of positive factors from artificial intelligence. And yeah, all I can say is for the first podcast, for the first episode today, talking about just having a general chat about AI, the positives, the good, the bads, just to say, if you are someone that's against the grain of AI, that's totally fine and it's totally understandable. But at some point, it's inevitable that we're not going to wake up one day and everyone's just going to just shut down the AI and just be like, okay, it's actually just, we're done with it. It's something that's here to stay, and it's only the beginning. So we need to adjust. We need to learn whatever position you're in, whatever job title you're in. Try understand it. Try get with it. Try see how it works. And you're only benefiting yourself and preparing yourself for the future. Because eventually, this whole AI is trend and talk that everyone's talking about right now is actually just the start. So thank you for joining us or me. Well, when I say us, I'm talking about my dog at the back there that decided he was going to get up halfway through the podcast. So yeah, thank you. And if you did find this kind of nice and just a general chat, and you found it kind of interesting and you would like to join in or listen to more of these podcasts, then make sure you subscribe to the channel. We're going to be talking about so many different things throughout this podcast, throughout this channel. It's not just going to be serious scientific things like this or educational things. We're going to have some friends chats. We're going to talk about random things, trends, funny things. We're also going to be maybe just kind of going through funny things on the internet and reacting to them. It's really just a channel of a man of all trades channel, if you will. So make sure to subscribe to the channel if you're not already subscribed, and like the video if you found this somewhat interesting. And I'll definitely see you in the next podcast. Stay tuned. Thank you.